All right. We are going to attempt to break this down as quickly as possible. It is the Thanksgiving holiday, so I am thankful for Carolina Nation. If you are tuning into this or seeing this after Thanksgiving, that's why I'm thankful. Well, I'm thankful always, but that's why we brought it up. Usually, I get on here with my brother-in-law, Zach Galitsky. I'm hoping he's with family. I'm not with family. I got to just witness and enjoy the Carolina game versus Michigan State. So we dropped that game 94-91 in overtime. We fall to 4-3. And yeah, we're going to keep this as brief as possible. But this is just kind of a raw reaction video. Usually get on here and try to paint a positive picture of what Carolina basketball can be this season. And we're incredibly talented, and it does feel like there's going to be a come to Jesus, so to speak, conversation that's going to need to go down with the guys. Maybe there's a players only meeting. I don't know. But getting down, let's see, we played 7 games. We've been down double digits in like any game that matters this season. 3 of the 6 going into the game, we've been down 20 plus points at sometimes in the second half. Obviously, the miraculous comeback versus Kansas fell a little short. Then we were able to pull a miraculous comeback against Dayton, almost pulled it off again. Seth Trimble throws in, I don't want to say a prayer, but a very challenging 3-point shot at the end of regulation tonight, descended into overtime after being down 14 in the first half and coming out, I believe. I don't think we had a field. I think we started the game 1 of 10 from the field. I don't think we had a field goal before the first media timeout. So, yeah, there's a lot to break down, and I think a lot of people are going to take a look at the bigs as they should. Look, Withers ends up playing 32 minutes tonight, the entire overtime at the 5 position. Uh, Zach and I kind of discussed the death lineup that they used to call the Golden State Warriors, where Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green were the 4 and 5, and they had small lineup. You know, I don't know if we're good enough against teams that play with physicality like Michigan State, if that's the best choice. I'm not Hubert Davis. I love Hubert Davis. Every person that knows Hubert that I know says that he is the greatest guy on the planet. He's done an incredible job. He was coach of the year in the ACC last year. So this is what this podcast is, or this show recap is. You kind of, not you second guess, but I'm curious to think or to hear if he has a presser and we have access to it. I don't know what his thoughts are on. I get it. Lubin and Washington have not been great so far, but to put Withers in at 5 after there was like a 4 or 5 minute stretch where either we took the lead by 1 in regulation and we just couldn't stop them. They were getting 3 or 4 looks on the boards with the small lineup. And again, Lubin and Washington, I get it. Hubert's going to say, well, it wasn't any different when they're in. It was a little different. We have some semblance of a chance on the backboards, and then to do it again in overtime. Now, offensively, yeah, I understand the strategy, but I just don't know what you're sacrificing. I don't know how much better Withers is on the floor at the 5 than Lubin, because Lubin defends on the perimeter as well as Withers does per se, give or take. Pick your poison. Yeah, tonight was tough. Tonight was tough. And it's Thanksgiving, so we're gonna keep this short. I think we're 4 minutes in. So this is gonna be a subpar 10-minute kind of in the moment review recap of the game. RJ Davis, I've been on the record as one of my favorite Tar Heels of all time. I don't think it's a highly contested argument right now that he's not even our best player. Seth Trimble's our best player right now, and maybe that changes. I don't know if teams are scheming RJ, but again, tonight he does make a massive 3 at the end to get it to 1 possession, but he misses the free throw that was big, and it's hard to nitpick someone like RJ who's been so good for so long. But the line tonight, 36 minutes, he did have 16 points, but 6 of 18. So when your shots outweigh your points, that's never a good thing. 2 of 6 from 3. He was 1 of 5 until the last one he threw in. Yeah, it's just tough. I don't know. Again, these are things and questions that only the coaching staff knows. Our team scheming to take RJ away, which is silver lining. Drake Powell and Ian Jackson to some degree, but Drake Powell for sure. Like I don't know what he's got to do. If he's not starting next game, then it's not about performance based, and it's all about what Hubert foresees for his future development. I don't know, but it's just the way Seth Trimble played himself into the starting lineup. I feel like Drake did the same thing over the entirety in the run of the Maui Invitational. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Drake Powell tonight, 18 points, 7 of 9 from the field, and 4 of 6 from three. Now, he missed a big one, but he's a freshman, and I think he felt the gravity of that shot, and that's why it was short. He short armed it. He was thinking about it. It wasn't in game flow. He was just like, oh man, I'm taking this. Like, this is a massive shot. It's the biggest shot I've ever taken in college to this point. And he's going to take some big shots. Well, I don't know. That shot against Dayton was pretty huge. But and then Ian, 14 points. He was, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from three. Both those guys really starting to find their footing, which is amazing. We're going to need it. But yeah, RJ, just I don't know if teams are scheming, but we have other players that can fill it up. And I thought it would alleviate some of the pressure that he might be seeing or feeling. Maybe Hubert can address it. Maybe Hubert can get into tape and film and get with Marcus Page and say, hey, what can we do to get him some looks outside of just the run and gun? Like, so let's try to find him in transition. Our offensive half court sets don't seem to be creating easy looks for us, but I'll have to go back and watch it again. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. We got all weekend and gonna have to sit on this one. The next game is December 4th. We're going to be taking on Alabama at home. Hopefully, it goes a little bit better than Maui went for us. 1-2 is tough, and then just double-digit deficits in every game we played out in Maui. Yeah, it's not an anomaly anymore. There's an issue. There's a problem, and we got to fix it. And that's going to fall at the feet of the coaching staff. So I really do hope in conversation for a different time. One of my buddies was like, Carolina needs to hire a general manager and treat the basketball program like a pro sports franchise because, we're going to hear about the portal. And we're going to hear about players that we missed out on and the NIL and the collective and how much people are making. And again, that's a conversation for a different show. We're just kind of recapping tonight's game, but that is going to be, we are playing Whithers. Let's see what Whithers is listed at. I mean, I think he's like 6'9", maybe. He's listed at 6'9", 220, and he's playing 5. They had a couple guys out there that just were massive. I sent a clip, and if anyone knows, I believe it was in overtime. Now, Elliott and RJ both have 4 fouls. We're switching everything 1 through 5. I don't know why we're doing that. Again, even if Whithers is playing 5, we shouldn't be switching RJ and Whithers on picks, but we did. RJ gets left on the block. The ball gets moved around a little bit. There's a ball screen up top. Whithers is guarding the ball because he had already switched. Now, here's the entire problem, and then I'll let you guys go and enjoy your holiday, and I'm sorry that you had to listen to this. But I do love Carolina basketball, and I do love doing this show with my brother-in-law. So if you've listened this long, like and subscribe, whatever you're supposed to say. Appreciate you guys. But back to the play and back to the whole issue of like the switching and defensively, like the schemes that Hubert and the coaching staff are doing. I don't know, like they're switching even when there's not screens. Guys are just running past each other, and then players are going. One guy doesn't see it because he's looking at his man. 2 go with 1 open 3. Happened the entire game versus Auburn. Happened the entire game tonight. Hopefully they see it on tape. Like I don't know if I'm by no means any kind of basketball guru, and I'm looking at it screaming on my television. Like, why do you think they keep getting open looks? The guys are just running past each other, and we're pointing and switching. So overtime, we're switching 1 through 5. RJ switches, Elliott switches, we're switching with Whithers. RJ's on their center, blah, blah. So Whithers gets switched out onto their point guard. It's at the top of the key. There's a ball screen. Everyone comes together. The big that set the ball screen, I think he was guarded by Seth Trimble, of course, slips to the middle. The point guard, who's now guarded by Whithers, throws the ball as the guy slips to the 5. Now the 5 is in the paint. And guess who's down low? Because we're switching everything. RJ and Elliott both with 4 fouls. Zero chance they're stopping that. Zero chance. So yeah, the Whithers at 5 for the entirety of overtime. I'm just Maybe he's just fed up. Maybe he's taking one on the chin and saying, "I don't care if we lose this game. I'm sending a message to our bigs. I will sit you down." Because actually, the only thing that matters now, I would imagine everybody's contract's done and your NIL money is set for the year, is playing time. That's the only thing that you can threaten a kid with. Like, hey, you want to play? You want to make more money? You got to play. You got to produce. And if you sit on the bench, you can't do that. I don't know what his thought process was, but in the overtime after the stint in regulation when we tied it up or went ahead by one, and then just got abused for 5 minutes on the boards with no bigs in, it was a choice to play Whithers at the 5 for the entire time, knowing that we were going to get abused. And again, switching 1 through 5, even with Whithers at the 5, I would love some sort of explanation. I know we're probably not going to get it. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving. Go Heels. Love Carolina. Hate to be negative, but there's a real effing problem with one, the way the roster is constructed. But it is what it is. This is what we got, and we got to roll it out there. But when we play physical teams, unfortunately, we have to find a way to put to put Lubin and Washington in positions to be successful. I don't know how it is. I'm not the coach, but they got to figure that out, and they got to figure it out soon, or the season's over. Because they're going to look back at these games, and again, you lose at Kansas, then you lose to Auburn, who I think is going to be a top. Both of those are probably going to be top 5 teams all year, but unranked Michigan State, who I don't think is going to compete for their conference championship. We don't have a quality win on our record yet. We're probably gonna. I don't want to say that. Maybe we beat Alabama, but if we don't beat Alabama, no quality wins into December. Not looking good for the resume, and God knows what's going to happen in the ACC. Which, luckily, I don't know a lot of bigs in the ACC. I'll have to do some research outside of Clemson. Clemson's going to give us real problems because Shefflin's just going to eat us alive. But we'll see. Happy Thanksgiving. Sorry for the rant, but I appreciate you guys even paying. Go Heels.